Hello, and welcome to the channel's first non-tournament winning deck profile. Today I'm going to show off my latest pet project, a deck I've been playing a lot of lately, which is Chad, or in other words Gankumon X Antibody. I've been obsessed with this deck lately. It's really fun to play. The second I saw the preview for this art, I knew I just had to build a deck around it, because this has genuinely become my favorite card of all time. It's just awesome, alright? That's all I can say about it. But at first I was trying to build a black base of this deck with X Antibody and Cool Boy. I might show off that someday, because it was a really fun deck, but the Dora Greymon is now restricted to 1, so it's not playable anymore. So this is the probably better, more consistent red alternative. So what I'm gonna do in this video actually is that I'm going to show off my the deck profile like videos usually do, but then I want to do a kind of tutorial, like how to play the deck, or at least in my opinion how I play the deck and what I think the point is, and a certain combos you can do with it, to teach. So if anyone finds this, wanna build this, and hasn't played the game before, I can give at least a general idea of what you're supposed to do with it. So let's just start with the deck profile then. Starting with the eggs, I run 4, of course, Gurrimons. I think this is probably the best egg for this deck, for consistency's sake. I've seen people also play Kakinimon, up on the screen right now, gain 1 memory when attacking with a level 7. And the entire point of this deck is doing that. So it's not bad. But since this card can be used to, draw 1 with a level 4, because every level 4 in this deck is 6000 DP or more, in case you actually very much need it. So moving on to the rookies, I play 4 of the BT6 Huckmon, the searching one. Reveal top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 2 Digimon cards with Huckmon, yes, more Sistermon. It's a very good, consistent card, except it can't pick up Royal Knights, so it's not a good target for Ganko if you're searching for that. 2 BT7 Huckmons when attacking, reveal top 5, grab all Sistermons. A very underrated card in my opinion. Huckmon from the starter deck, when you play a Digimon with a Sistermon its name, gain 1 memory. And I'm gonna show you how this has done a lot of things for me on locals. That effect is really good. And of course, if there's any floodgate this deck will play, it's Solarmon, because this deck is super weak to Dexmon. And you'll see why later on. Moving on to the level 4s, I play a playset of Bahuckmon from BT6. When attacking, if you have a Digimon with Sistermon its name in play, delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon with 1000 DP or less. A very good card for removal, since the deck actually have a tiny bit of access to minus DP, and it's good for removing floodgates. That's very annoying. And obviously a playset of Bahuckmon from the starter deck. We need the searcher, all of the searching effects in this deck to hit all of our pieces, because we don't really have that, we're not stacked with rookies or level 4s or level 5s, so we need as many as we can get. So moving on to the level 5s, I play 1 playset of Saviorhuckmon, the restricted one from BT6. 4 copies of Saviorhuckmon from the starter deck, and 2 copies of Chimeramon from BT8. So, as you can see, there's only 5 level 5s that are red and are searchable in the deck. but these is actually all you need. This deck is super consistent. There's almost no match where I don't get to do the thing that my deck is supposed to do. The Saviorhuckmon is essentially just your hybrid for game, your sudden win condition that your opponent won't see coming, and your sudden place where you just get much farther ahead when what they're expecting at the current board state. It's a really good card in this set, in this deck. So before Chad enters the picture, let's go over all of the Sistermons in this deck, and there's a lot. So I play 2 copies of the Sistermon Blank from BT6. It's essentially a on-play Chadmon from BT1, draw card, except that it has all turns. If you have a Huckmon or Royal Knight on the field, every Sistermon gains blocker. 2 copies of Sistermon CL from BT6. Gain 1 memory on play and all turns, all of your Huckmons and Royal Knight. Gain 2000 DP. 2 copies of the Sistermon CL from BT10, which is a very interesting card, which essentially enables all of our insane power plays that will probably break most decks. On play, if it's your turn, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with Royal Knight in the traits from your hand for its Digivolution cost. And when you do, you gain a memory. Probably just reading the card doesn't really explain how good the card is before you actually play it and get the feeling of it. Then I play 2 copies of Sistermon Blank from the starter deck. By trashing 1 card in your hand, draw 2. An overall good card in probably any deck if you want some card draw, but it also has the bonus effect of giving your Huckmons and Royal Knights decoy, effectively giving them protection from all deletion effects by sacrificing her instead, and ending on Sistermon CL from the starter deck. Reveal top 3, add 1 card with Huckmon or Royal Knight, trash the rest. This deck plays a lot with both your hand and your graveyard, so having things in your graveyard is not a bad thing in this deck. It also gives all of your Huckmons and Royal Knight reboot. Moving on to our level 6s, we have 3 copies of Gankomon from the starter deck, and let me tell you, this guy is hugely underrated. How strong this card is. This card absolutely destroys certain matchups. That is insane, since it's essentially a when Digivolving, de-Digivolve 1 up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon, and that effect essentially just destroys the entire strategy of certain decks, that you can do it for such a low condition. And also the fact that you can use his when Digivolving effect not only to play a Sistermon, but also a Huckmon. What is just so good, just for the fact that you can essentially use all of your resources to do what a lot of other decks do, like build a 1 big stack and then just smash with it. But the fact that you can actually reanimate something from the graveyard with a black and essentially red card and getting another red body on the field that you can further Digivolve for more card draw and for your next big play is really good. But this deck obviously would not be Chad without Chad, and this guy is one fucking cool guy, let me tell you. So he has the condition that he can Digivolve from 1 upon a Gankomon, so on this dude. He plays a Sistermon from the trash or hand, and then he gives your entire board, so like it's an ice wall kind of effect, protection from bounce, bot decking, and DP reducing, and everything gains 2000 DP plus. Pretty much walling your entire team off from the majority of the removal effects in the game. But obviously, the point of this deck is to, instead of using the Yesmon to do your big plays, you're instead using the Chadmon to turbo into Chadmon GX, which, let me tell you, is probably a pretty good, a pretty decent card, let me tell you. So what it does when Digivolving is that you can place either from trash or hand one Royal Knight, and all of these boys are Royal Knights, to do its when Digivolving effects, then Blitz, and then for every Royal Knight in its trait is just security attack bots 1. So essentially, if you have this stack, go into this, and then put under this under him, which is a when Digivolving effect. That's 4 checks, and all of these Chad effects that gains 2000 DP stacks. So he's now a 19k piercing blocker 4 checking Digimon, which is pretty insane. And finishing off the deck, we got 4 copies of from Master the Disciple. This is this deck's cool boy. It's not as good, obviously. Nothing is as good as the cool boy. But the fact of the matter that it costs 2, you get to draw a card, well, most of the time, and trash cards when you want cards in your trash, and you can use its delay effect to reduce the next evolution by 1. And the security effect also searches and places it on the field, incredibly powerful. And yeah, no memory tamer, no removal cards. Like this deck is all about the Chad, the Ganku, and the Chadmon playing out an entire army of Sistermons with so much protection that not even a Crimson Blaze will destroy them. So in the description I will have a link to the full deck profile, and for good measure here's the entire deck all at once in its entirety. And even though we're only playing with 11 rookies, 8 champions and 5 ultimates, the deck is, like I said earlier in the video, is in my opinion incredibly consistent. In the deck we have 14 cards that either draws or searches for the cards that we need in our hand. So there's always a forward momentum with this deck. As long as you have any of these, you are pretty good. The only inconsistency is this deck is the Huckmon, considering that he only searches for Huckmon, Chadmon and Sistermons, so he can't grab Ganku or Chad. But the rest of these are incredibly they will do their job, especially the From Master Disciple, considering that it has Royal Knight in its own traits. It can pick up itself, so if you don't get a good search, you can just, if there's another copy of it in there, you can just grab it and play it again, further reducing when you pop off. So what is our game plan to win against our opponent? Well, it's quite simple. The entire game plan is just essentially that we want to turbo into the Chadmon GX as quickly as possible. So that means regardless if we leave our opponent at 6-5 memory, it's fine, because what we're actually doing is incredibly, if they don't have a sufficient response to our board state, we pretty much always have a great chance of always winning the turn afterwards. So let's say this is pretty much how a normal game of Chadmon / Chadmon Turbo goes. What you want to do is essentially that you hatch the Digimon going into any rookie here in racing, and early on you want to have a searcher. So for example we have From Master to Disciple, or a CL will do, or a Huckmon searcher will do. But we use this From Master to Disciple, and let's say we draw a Gankumon to hand and trash the rest, and there's a Sistermon CL in there. And in the following turns, we'll just evolve Huckmon into Bow for 2, and 3 to Savior. So, regardless of our opponent in this moment leaving us at 1, when we promote here, we'll crack from Master Disciple, reducing the next cost by 1. We'll go into Gankumon for 2, putting our opponent to 1, doing its effect. When Digivolving, you may play 1 Huckmon or Digimon card with system on its name from your trash without paying its memory cost. So what's very specific with just the Gankumon is that it has to only be the trash. So trashing cards early in the game with different effects are incredibly important. So we'll play the Sistermon CL here on play, gain us a memory, going back to 0, still our turn. So what we'll do now is that the Gankumon will go into Chad for 1, putting our opponent to 1, doing his effect. I may play 1 Digimon card with system on its name from my hand or my trash, and I'll now play the new Sistermon CL from BT10, which on play, if it's your turn, which it still is, it still hasn't moved on since I haven't resolved all of the effects yet, I may Digivolve one of my Digimon into a Royal Knight in its trait by paying its Digivolution cost. So I'll evolve Chad into Chadmon GX for 5, going to 6, and then I'll gain a memory because I evolved into a Royal Knight. So what will proceed to happen now? So if I have a Gankumon or Chad in either trash or hand, I will now proceed to put it into his Digivolution sources, proccing that chosen Royal Knights when Digivolving effect, stacking both of Chad's Ice Wall effect, everything gains protection, and 2000 DP. So these are now 9k. I will then play a Sistermon from either hand or trash, and let's say in this case I play the DCL, looking at top 3, taking a Huckmon or a Royal Knight, trashing the rest. Then Chadmon will blitz in either into your opponent's security or suspended Digimon, since he has piercing. When attacking, Saviorhuckmon will play a Sistermon from my trash or hand. In this case, let's play the Blanc, doing its effect, trashing 1 card, which in this case is another Blanc to draw 2. He'll then swing for 4 checks, 15, 17, 19, 21,000, 22,000, destroying a Digimon with 5,000 DP or less, drawing a card, and yeah, at the end of at the opponent's unsuspend phase, Chadmon GX will unsuspend with him, and he's a 21,000 DP blocker with Decoy Reboot. So that's essentially everything you want to do with this deck. Because if your opponent hasn't any response to this, since none of these Digimon will be can be DP reduced, can't be bounced, or bottom decked, they're all plus 4,000 DP, so these are 9, and the Blanc is 7,000. All of the rookie lines you can play from with the Sistermons are 3,000, so not even a Crimson Blaze will remove them from the game. Like, by this point, the only effect that essentially has a chance to remove the Chadmon GX is a Chaos Degradation. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to show a couple of scenarios of some plays you can do that has happened at like my locals and the Swedish Digimon server when I playtested this deck. Is that, for example, if you have the Chimeramon in hand, you do have some more cool accesses to gameplay than you usually do. Like, you can use the Chimeramon just to evolve 2 Sistermons together and swing for game with Rush, because Joker's Digimon can do that. But for example, We could also do this. That if we, except for example, hatch the Digimon, evolve Digimon into Huckmon for 0, draw a card. I'll evolve the Huckmon into a Bow, going 0, draw. Then we'll play the Sistermon for 4, doing its effect, reveal top 3. Can take 1 Royal Knight or Huckmon to my hand, the rest is trashed. I'll take the Gankumon, rest are trashed. So when the turn passes back, we can do this. Since Sistermons do actually have a level, we hand Joggers them together with the Huckmons for 0, draw a card. Doing its effect, we'll place a level 5 or lower Digimon into its sources. So for this scenario, Saviorhuckmon, doing minus 1,000 for every color, he's 2, minus 2,000 on a couple of our opponent's Digimon. Then we can evolve Chimeramon into the Gankumon for free, going to draw. Doing its effect, Blanc, trashing Blanc to draw 2 cards. So, and if it would happen to be that one of these cards trashed would have been this, we could have immediately gone into the Chad that could have played further Sistermons, and this can be our second turn play. So I also want to talk about how well these 2 cards work together. Because as I said, the Gankumon can also play Huckmons from the trash. A black card that reanimates red cards. Pretty sick. And what's so good about it is that if you can evolve into the Gankumon without passing the turn, and you play this, not only will you have another body to evolve on if they happen to deal with this Gankumon stack, is that if you happen to go into Chad for 1, you play out a Sistermon, you will not pass the turn since the Huckmon gains you a memory when you play a Sistermon on the field, which a lot of times actually have mattered. So now, when we go into the Chadmon GX, putting Chad under, playing out another Sistermon, we swing, doing 4 checks. If they now decide to like remove the Digimon GX with well, like the only card possible, the Chaos Degradation, or no, that's actually pretty much it. They pay 8, going to 3, it's removed from the game. Boop. You now have another body on the field that now you can immediately evolve on. So let's say Bow Huckmon, and boom, Chimera, draw. And by this point, when you have done all of these combos, gone through the entire deck with all of your Sistermons, you will have so many cards in hand, so you will be able to just continuously keep pressuring your opponent with big swings, big blockers, a multitude of protection. It will have a very hard time dealing with all of this. And also, the fact that he has a, like, almost when Digivolving Digivolve 1 is so completely busted. Like, if you're playing against, like, any deck that has a very hard time dealing with Digivolve, the mechanic Digivolve. For example, Minerva, Examon, Machine Dramon. Like, the fact of the matter is that if no Digimon until BT11 has protection from the Digivolve, and some strategies are just built around having these like having their stack on the field doing their thing, and you just like evolving, playing a free body on the field, and just Digivolving them is insane. And an interesting interaction with the Minervamon, by the way, is the fact that when you evolve, you play a Huckmon or a Systemon from trash. The Minervamon will trigger at the same time, playing out a Digimon from their trash. But since you have priority, your Digivolve will Digivolve it before the effect resolves, practically negating the entire strategy around that deck. If they happen to have it out on the field in that case, and they're not already looping. And while some people aren't as high on the restricted Saviorhuckmon anymore, I don't quite agree. Because just as the rest of the cards in this deck, this enables us to do so much. Considering that if in combination with the From Master to Disciple, and like a Memory CL or a on-play Digivolve CL, you can just go so incredibly quick now, because when this card came out, we didn't have this. So you going into this for 2, playing out this, going into the Gankomon, and just further extending your plays. Just it goes so quick, so fast. And of course, every deck has its weakness. So there are certain cards and decks that that Chad has a very hard time beating. And one of those are Venusmon. If Venusmon comes out on the field and it's at like a pivotal moment, like before that big turn where you go into do the entire thing. If Venusmon is on the field, your deck is pretty much worthless. Sure, Yesmon can still swing for like a couple of checks, but the Ganku will not play anything, the Shad will not play anything, Yesmon's when Digivolving effect will not proc, so it won't blitz, and it won't activate, putting another playing out on the Systemon, so this pretty much just becomes a vanilla blocker. So Venusmon absolutely destroys this deck. Like it just makes it unable to do anything, because everything is when Digivolving and when attacking. There's nothing you can do against this card. Absolutely nothing. And another card that Yesmon has a very hard time dealing with is, of course, Mastermon's Chaos Degradation. You have your big turn. You wasted the entire game searching, drawing cards, trying to just find your pieces to get your big turn. You go out, you play out 4 Systemons, Yesmon swings into your opponent's security for 4 checks. First security, Chaos Degradation. Like, you can just scoop right there. Like, there's you will not be coming back to that. There's no shot. Like, it's done. Like, you won't be able to recover from that. They will put your Shad in, they will put the Yesmon GX into your security, and they will just remove every single Systemon you have with the Mastermon's effect and everything else that they can do. So, there's just nothing we can do about it. Like, this list doesn't have any space for delicate plan. Like, it would be incredible if we could just fit that card in there, but it's impossible. And same goes essentially for security control. Like any deck that runs any significant, like, big amounts of heavy removal, like the Chadmon GX can get protection from bounce and DP reduction and bot decking. So like Wyvern's Breath and Megadeth and Gigadeth and a lot of cards will just be completely worthless. But considering that the security control runs 4 Chaos Degradations, there's always a chance that you will be put into a position where you won't be able to do anything. So need to pace the game very differently in these scenarios. Like, it's better to like still focusing on building a wide field and accumulating value with card draw and memory gain and such things. But there's absolutely no point in going all in, putting your opponent to an incredible amount of memory and just getting chaos degraded in the opponent's security. Like, that's pretty much game over, sadly. So thanks for watching. If you like this kind of deck profile video I just made, I would be very happy if you told me that in the comments, and I might make more. So just remember to leave a like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Have a great night. Bye bye.